seeing professional athletes kneel during the national anthem causes him to turn off the game. Last night, LeBron James was asked for his response. Take a listen.
I really don't think the basketball community are sad about losing his viewership. The game will go on without his eyes on it. I can sit here and speak for all of us that love the game of basketball. We could care less.
Well, LeBron is accurate on that because I can tell you ratings are up 14% already, and we haven't even gotten into playoffs. Okay, Kendrick Perkins back here with us. Neek, I'll start with you, and I want to be fair to LeBron here. So LeBron was asked about our President Trump, and he responded. So should he continue to comment on Trump when he's asked about it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that one thing that LeBron does is he creates a paradigm that I think is safe for other athletes to speak out. I think anyone in any walk of life or any profession has the right to talk about and criticize and even celebrate whatever leaders that they have in that situation. So I think LeBron, while athletes, there's more expected in some cases, also sometimes there's a little bit extra criticism. So if he's a citizen of this country, even if he's not a citizen of this country, one of the things about this country is we believe that people have the freedom to speak. And I think one of the arguments maybe against him doing it is that you think that it might hurt the result that LeBron so clearly wants is a Democrat to win the White House. I don't think that's true. I think we're at a point now where people are pretty entrenched in where they want to be. If what Donald Trump has said and done up until this point hasn't swayed anybody, LeBron James saying something is not going to sway them one way or the other. And I think this is not new for LeBron. He was openly campaigning for Hillary Clinton in Ohio back in 2016. They ended up losing Ohio to Donald Trump, though Cleveland went heavy for Hillary Clinton. I think that he is free to say the things that he wants to say. I'm happy that he's saying them, and I encourage him to keep saying them, whether he's asked or not asked.
And I agree with you, Dominique. You speaking the gospel. Listen, I keep telling people it's a difference between being popular and powerful. And LeBron James is powerful. He's one of the most powerful people in America. Well, probably in the world when you think about it, right? His following, his support is just right up there with Trump's. So, yes, I think he should respond every time Trump says something. And by the way, we already know that Trump is a hater of the NBA. He don't like the NBA. Are we really shocked that he said this? No. Does he really watch the NBA? Does he watch basketball? No. Listen, hell no. He don't watch basketball, and we all know this, right? This is the problem that I have. He's been very critical of the NBA. Throughout this whole time that he's been in office, you look down the line, he always criticized and ripped the great Greg Popovich. He ripped Steve Kerr. He always got something to say towards LeBron. He always got something negative to say towards the NBA in general. It's never nothing positive. And now you look at another situation right during this pandemic with Dana White and the UFC, and I think they have done a great job. Don't get me wrong. They have done a great job during this pandemic for us, having the UFC fights in their format or whatever the case may be. But you hear Donald Trump, he says positive things about them. Oh, yeah, the UFC has done a wonderful job. Way to stand on the front line. Well, the NBA has done a great job also in returning to playing, resuming the season and playing in the bubble, having 0 cases. Players are playing at an extremely high level. Like you said, Molly, the ratings are up. Donald Trump hasn't said anything positive about that, but right. The one thing that he could point out is something negative, and it's always a negative response when it comes from him about the NBA. And by the way, it's always that negative response because guess what? By the way, the NBA is made up of 80% African Americans. So more than a vote, that campaign, more than a vote. I'm saying it right now.
I think the only argument against LeBron responding to these types of things is that it takes the attention off of the more important things. And that's probably what the president is trying to create, a moment where we're not looking at how poorly this country has handled the coronavirus, a moment when we aren't looking at the situation that we're in now, a moment when we're not looking at we have to be in a bubble in college football and professional football is in limbo and baseball is in limbo because the country has not responded well to this virus. virus. The only thing I would suggest to LeBron is just because his name is brought up to you in a particular context is you don't have to talk about that, because I do believe that we've seen throughout this administration, a lot of what they do is point in a different direction. They give us something to talk about. They give us some front page headlines so that we aren't necessarily focused on the things that are very important. Like if we want to sit here and debate the ratings of basketball, like that to me seems like a nonsense exercise. I do think that it's fair and smart to point out that the ratings are doing better, but the numbers that we need to be looking at is the rise in COVID-19 cases and the numbers of deaths per capita that we have in this country compared to other countries. Those are the numbers that LeBron James should point us to, and frankly, those are the numbers that the president should be focused on, not necessarily focused on the ratings or the scores of some sort of game. So if I give any advice to LeBron James, and he's handled all of his business well up until this point, the only advice I would give to him is not to be quiet when they ask you about it, but to point the attention of our country and the attention of the media and the attention of your fans to the things that matter. And the things that don't matter are the ratings of the NBA. The things that do matter is the fact that we got hot spots all over this country when the president said it was going to go away in April when the weather got hot.
Well, also, I think LeBron does a great job of preaching, going out to vote. I think he does an excellent job of saying justice for Breonna Taylor. He does it every time he get a chance to speak about it. And he started the More Than a Vote campaign. So I think he do have to address these issues. And you're right, Dominique, about the ratings. But he's also right about the NBA could care less if Donald Trump watches the game. The ratings are up. That's the point that I was making. I'm not saying let's not be distracted, because, that's part of the voting process is distractions, the intimidation, and misinformation. And we can't get distracted from that part of it. So you're right at that aspect. But I was just, going back to Molly's point where she said the ratings are high, so we won't miss him watching the game anyway. It's not like he watch it anyway.
Yeah. And I think this last thing I'll just say quickly, if you truly want our country to win, I don't know how you could not support the NBA, how they've handled COVID with the bubble situation. Just for us, American citizens dealing with a pandemic, it's a positive distraction. In terms of these players, they're helping the economy with all the money that they're making. And just how about the simple fact that they're inspiring us to be better at our craft? I mean, I could go on and on with a laundry list of what the NBA has done and continues to do for our country and globally. We'll leave it on that note here. When we come back, guys, we're going to dive back into a little more NFL. We have AB. Should his future reside in Green Bay with that bad man? You don't want to miss this debate with Dominique and Ryan Clark next. We'll be hearing Rodgers to Brown, or Love to Brown for that matter.